he gets emotional talking about algebra. and that was a very powerful thing. Also, when he starts to break down, you don't see him, you just see her and hear his voice break down on the equation. I thought that was also a very good part. I thought also the contrast between that and the near, it was really interesting to think of, the near sentimentality of the director of the little Brigadoons, telling them about these feelings in this kind of way. But she is ready for that because she can play act that too. I thought that was a nice scene of her lying on the floor, like in the woods, and then he actually touches her arm and brings her to a more natural sleeping position. And she's wonderful. She just shows somehow that she enjoys that. She enjoys her hand being lifted and moved closer. There's a kind of tiny indication of smile. So I trust her wonderfully, and I think she was absolutely right not to be kissed on screen.
Yeah, I think she's right as well. She forced us to rethink about that scene, and for her own personal reasons. And we didn't go into them with her. She just said, I don't want to. So we said, okay, now what are we going to do? And she, you know, and that's kind of, it's good for you as for us as directors to try and then have to rethink what it is that we need to do. The very first scene we shot with Annie was the last scene in the film. And, you know, we were very nervous because it's a feature film. You don't know what the journey is going to be. You know, it's going to be a very intense number of days and you have to get through a lot. And we shot the last scene first because that's just the way it worked out. And the only thing we'd ever done with Annie was take her photograph and talk to her. And we had no idea how she's going to behave. She'd never travelled out of the UK before, and we shot the first scenes in Dublin. So is she going to be homesick? How's she going to behave? She's 19, she's, you know, I suppose in her own way kind of vulnerable because she doesn't have any experience or professionalism to fall back on. But I think that once we got through that first scene and the way she behaved in front of the camera, we kind of felt, you know, that it was going to work. On some level it was going to work, and that she, you know, was very right for what we were doing, and we could just let her get on with it.
You okay for the final few questions, or a few more hands? You right for time? Yeah. Okay. There was somebody in the middle. I feel really bad because I keep ignoring him. Yep. With the glasses.
I'd like to know about the editing, or the process of editing the film, especially as it sort of toward the middle becomes kind of very much a montage where you frequently cut to black and then have a scene and then cut to black and show Helen in the forest, cut to black down, and just how much of that was discovered and how much of that was scripted.
In a nutshell, the question was about the process of editing the film, particularly the montage sequences with the cuts to black, just in case people didn't hear at the back.
Yeah, the use of cutting to black came during the editing process, in the middle of the editing process. It certainly wasn't our intention, and a lot was discovered in the editing process. The only problem for us is that we only shot 300 minutes of footage, so that's all we had, and that, you know, is a very, very low shooting ratio. And if you take into consideration the fact that we also produced a short film, so some of the footage was given over to the short film, and there's some scenes we didn't use, we had an incredibly low ratio of film to work with. So in a way, our options were really limited in the edit. We didn't envisage the voiceover either. That came in late in the day because we had a very rough cut screening that we did for actually Joe's sister and her family, and you know, they're blockbuster. They're blockbusters. They're very mainstream. Their approach to cinema, and their reaction to the film really made us feel that we needed to introduce a voiceover. And again, it's a good thing because I think it works. So yeah, it was working with what we had and then trying to, yeah, you know, the editing it's very much a process of discovery. It's amazing Sure, anybody who's been through an editing process knows that it's amazing the journey that you can go on. If you compare that to our shooting script, you know, it went on a very big journey. The essence of it was very much intact, but some of the turning points were really defined in the edit.
Okay, we have time, but we'll make it the final 2 questions, which is good because there's 2 people. So we'll go to the lady who's very, very enthusiastic. Yep, hello.
Mine's a very quick one. I've come along tonight because my name's Helen.
Ah.
So I was tempted, but I'm just intrigued as to how you came across the name Helen. It's not a common name for a 90s born girl.
No, that's true. It's very much as a homage to Jo's mother, and it's dedicated to her, and it's partly inspired by her life story. So Helen was. We were going to call the film Joy Number 4, and then we couldn't find a way of writing that. Like,